stamps, in addition to the wages, the little wages that I'm getting in now.
I work for child care, and I make $8.05 an hour. I have no children, I'm not married, yet I am unable to take care of myself, and I cannot afford to live on my own or move out. I've been homeless. I've slept in my car.
I have a family, I got 4 kids I need to feed, and I can't feed them off of $7.25.
I'm here today because I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother. I work hard, I pay taxes, and I and my coworkers deserve a decent wage.
We can sit up in our dorms and pretend that oppression is part of the past. But our education and that degree will mean nothing if we don't come out here in the streets and fight oppression now.
When I go home and I can't pay my bills, and I've been at work 40 hours a week and it's still not enough. But sometimes, I hate that it has to be like that, but sometimes to make a change, you have to, make a change happen. Just walking out, overcoming my fear. When I did it, it made me feel like I'm a better person, and I feel strong. It made me feel like I had power.
I get paid $8.30 an hour, and with no wage, I can barely pay even the basics. And I'm not the only one.
$15 an hour is not the ceiling, it's the floor for all of us.
Yeah.
Put inequality and the minimum wage front and center in the national debate. The sustained protests have been able to do for the left what the Tea Party has been successful in doing on the right, which is to push the boundaries of consensus on an issue and drag the politics behind it. When the fight to raise wages for low-wage workers kicked off 18 months ago, it was a very small grassroots movement. Today, it has entirely changed the politics of the country.
Raise wages and benefits. $15 minimum wage should be the norm in the United States of America.
Right. Now, is that, I understand that for Walmart, I understand that for
I will use the power I have, and I call on the Department of Labor to assemble a wage board to study this issue, determine what is fair, and raise the minimum wage for fast food workers.
You can see it in the fast food and domestic workers all across our country who ask for nothing more than a living wage and a fair shot.
The largest city has voted to increase the minimum wage to $15 by 2020. The Los Angeles City Council approved the plan 14-1 today. Several other cities, including San Francisco and Seattle, have approved similar measures up until now. According to some estimates, more than 40% of the city's workers make less than $15 an hour.
Will you please join me in welcoming by phone Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton?
Should not have to march in the streets to get a living wage, but thank you for marching in the streets to get that living wage. What you're doing to build the Fight for 15 movement is so important. We need more cities and states to follow the lead of Los Angeles, St. Louis, and New York. We need to protect the right of every worker to join a union, and you're showing us what that truth is. You're out in the streets, your voices aren't being heard. We need you. I want to be your champion. I want to fight with you every day. But we together will change the direction of this great country. So thank you
another human being that's God's creation and say nothing. Every time people stand up, things change. So we have a right to raise up and fight for 15.
I noticed silence before Hillary, so.
Nobody else got to speak. I'm telling y'all right now.
No. Here's the thing, and I think Doug kind of struck it, is that what's amazing is 3 years ago when this thing started, everyone thought it was insane, $15 an hour. They just said, are you crazy? Our friends said we were crazy, right? But just to think about how far this movement has come, where you have all the politicians now elbowing to say, hey, I'm for 15, right? And you know, so as far as it goes, you know, what we know in history is that it doesn't matter who the individual is that's going to be either running for president or that's the president. It's really what the ground is doing that really shapes that. I mean, if you think about it, Nixon was to the left on Obama on many policies. It wasn't because he wanted to be, it was because he had to be because of where the politics were at on the ground. And so we believe that if we keep this fire going, whoever gets the Democrat, wins the primary is going to be forced to move with us or not get elected, right?
Right.
So, you know, that's the thing, and that's why we're not getting too caught up. The Fight for 15 isn't going to endorse any candidates. However, we're going to hold them all to the fire on this. Right? And that's our position. So, you know, again, I want to just recognize Doug Hunter for coming out today. Like he took time off from work to come here to Iowa. I want to recognize him. I also want to recognize Alma Perez. Go stand up, Alma. Thank you. 10 years at McDonald's, and this is how they treat her. And I think Alma and Doug both embody what this fight is about.
Yeah.
It's not just about $15 an hour. It's about respect. It's about dignity at work.
Okay.
What they did to her is an injustice. But they do this to workers all over the place all the time, right? McDonald's made $5.6 billion in profit last year. Billion with a B. A report, you know, and everyone says, oh, if you raise wages to $15 an hour, if McDonald's did that, the Big Mac's going to be so expensive, blah, 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 right?
Not hardly.
I mean, a study just came out and said that if, you know, they could raise wages to $15 an hour, still make $5.6 billion in profit if they raised the Big Mac 17 cents.
That's right.
Right? Which I still think, you know, they don't need to pass the cost on the consumer. Right. They can maybe make $4 billion.
Yeah.
Okay? Right? But you know, the bottom line is that they can afford to do this. And what's really outrageous is that McDonald's making $5.6 billion in profit, pay their workers poverty wages, which forces their workers to have to take public assistance.
Right.
Who pays for that?
We do.
Everybody. So McDonald's is getting corporate welfare. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So we as taxpayers are subsidizing that $5.6 billion profit. So we're already paying for it. Right? So again, I thought we would open it up if there's any questions for Doug or for me as well. Does that make sense? And somebody want to keep time on it, like make sure we're cool?
Yeah, I think this is a great issue. I told you
Could
this.
you just say your name? Just so
Curtis Berger.
Okay.
I drove Brenda here tonight. Let's figure that out. And this is an issue that is a positive thing. You know, there's a lot of issues that are negative, fighting this and that. This is a positive thing. And some of the analysis you had about the welfare costs, I've heard conservative analysts say the same thing. So there's a lot of nonpartisan parts here too. And what I specifically wanted to ask about the unionizing. The union would be the SEIU?
No, you know, so the question is like, when the workers win their union, is that going to be SEIU? The way we look at it is this, is that the union is not going to be the union of the industrial era, right? It's like so we're looking at it would have to be a new model of union, and it doesn't mean it's going to be SEIU per se, right? It's really going to be ultimately what the workers decide how they want, what sort of organization they want to form.
Has there been any that have unionized yet?
So the question is like McDonald's workers. So globally, in Argentina, 7,000 McDonald's workers are in a union. In Brazil, McDonald's workers are in a union. In Europe, Denmark, McDonald's workers are in a union. They make $22 an hour in Denmark, right? So it happens, right? McDonald's has sat down with unions and negotiated, and workers that have the union make a living wage. They get paid sick days. They have vacation. They get paternity leave.
And the cost of the food is comparable to the U.S.
Exactly. So they figured it out. Yeah.
Okay, one last question on that. How do you get to the vote stage?
So, you're getting really technical.
I'm just curious.
So, our goal is really to force McDonald's to sit down and talk with the workers and then come up with a process that's fair and works. So it may be a vote, it may be some other different mechanism as well. This is not a traditional campaign in the sense like where you organize a factory and the workers sign cards and then you file and have an election, right?
It wouldn't be like
it could be, but again, we're being creative in this process, right, on how we're going to do that. So, is someone else with a question or comment? Could you say your name too?
Lynn Burgettwood. I tried to help with somebody writing a letter to the editor, and I got on a website which said the cost of living in Iowa for a single person without insurance was around they estimated it'd be about $13 an hour. That's without insurance.
Right.
Okay. Now, I look at Chicago, New York, LA, I don't think $15 an hour cuts it.
I agree.
So what is really, if we're talking about insurance, what are we, no help from any other agent, what are we really talking about in like Chicago, New York?
We're talking like $20 to $25 an hour in Chicago, to be real, right? I think that when this campaign started, though, some folks were saying, well, we should fight for $10 an hour. We should fight, and so we were 15 is basically doubling the federal minimum wage, right? At $7.25.
As it is now, yeah.
Yeah, as it is now, right? And so partly some of us said, let's fight for 25, right? But that we knew that we were already stretching at 15, just where people were 3 years ago, right? But we believe, I think like Terrence Wise said in that video, some of y'all clapped when he said, this is the floor, right?
Yep.
15 is the floor, right?
I can see still, we all know that when it comes to people putting limits on how much you get help, that doesn't grow very fast. So at 15, would there still be help out there?
Well, partly though is this. That's why we say 15 and the union, because if we win, when we win, workers the bill will start at $15 an hour, and who here's been a part of a union, right? So when you start at 15, what do you try to do next?
16.
Benefits, negotiate for more, right? Now we're at the table. Now we're bargaining, right?
Unfortunately, that's not happening in the last 10 years.
Well,
we have to pay more.
Right? No, I get you, but if we can beat McDonald's, the second largest employer in the United States of America, the largest fast food employer, if we can knock them down, right? Because this fight is all it's doing is strengthening us through it. We're not going to compromise, right? And we believe that we're going to get a lot out of them once we get them to the table, because they're going to be crying uncle at that point.
You may have kind of answered this. Sharon Sanders, I guess.
Okay.
But what concerns me a little bit is some of these states and saying, I can't remember which one it was, but we're going to get it up to $15 by the year 2020.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, we know the cost of living continues to go up. So when 2020 gets here and you're at 15,
it'll be like today's $7.25. Said it'll be like today's $7.25.
Exactly. So why? I guess my question is why not the demand that rather than these timelines, and I know politicians are setting it, but it almost feels like somewhat of defeat when I'm saying I can't get that $15 for 5 years.
Right. So first off, I love that like the expectations have been raised so high that a path to 15 seems like it ain't good, right? But here's where our campaign, though, I want to draw kind of a clear line here, is that the Fight for 15 movement, the fast food worker movement, is not a minimum wage campaign. That just happened because fast food workers started to demand 15 and the right to form a union. Then other organizations said 15 is a good number. Now we want to move on an ordinance here, or we want to move.
15 is good.
15 is a good number. I like to fight for 15. But my point is this: is that our goal is to win $15 an hour for fast food workers, not asking politicians to raise it for us and pushing, like literally getting that corporation at the table and we get 15 now, right? And we believe that when we get McDonald's to the table, Burger King, Wendy's, and workers win $15 an hour as the base now, right?
Right.
What does that mean for the workers at Walmart?
$15 an hour.
What does that mean for the workers at Best Buy?
$15 an hour.
Everyone's going to be running to go work at McDonald's, right? So we believe that when we win $15 an hour, not through legislation and policy, which is all good, when we get it from this private billion-dollar corporation, it's going to be a game changer for all, right? And that's how it'll be a groundswell. Other questions right here?
Union member of UAW, and I see a lot of this as deja vu, the 1930s auto workers campaigns.
Yep.
And much work is being done is on the same problems were there, mass consideration and so on, and they worked out a plan and made it work. And be creative and keep track of unusual things. Like in that case there, they went with Big Boy, GM, got a deal, sat down, whatever it took to get a good deal. It hurt them hard enough, and they finally started talking, and finally got a deal. It's going to take some movement. Like I said, I think we're also in kind of on the edge of a populist moment where a lot of things are going to move, but this is going to be the key is going to move it, just like the auto workers did in the 30s.
That's right. That's right. We look at it very similar because we call it, the auto workers often refer to the big three, right? And that's what we look at. The big three to us is McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. They're the big three in fast food. If we can get them, it'll change the whole industry. And then we change the fast food industry, it changes the retail industry. I mean, the reality is that we are in a service economy, right? And we need to adapt to that and recognize that if we can change these industries, we can really change this country.